Hi, everyone. I'm Kelly O'Horo, and this is Adaptable Behavior Explained. Welcome back to Adaptable Behavior Explained. I'm Kelly O'Horo and your host, and this is part 3 of our series on infidelity after the affair. So far, we've looked at why people cheat and the attachment wounds underneath it. Today, we're tackling the kind of affair that's the hardest to define and the easiest to fall into. The one where no one ever takes their clothes off and a marriage still gets broken. We're talking about emotional affairs. So, what we often hear in the counseling office is, but nothing happened. It might be the most common sentence I hear when it comes to this topic. No kiss, no hotel room, no physical line ever was crossed, and yet the betrayed partner is shattered, and the unfaithful one is genuinely bewildered that something they swear was innocent caused this much pain. Here's the truth: an affair doesn't require a single touch. Sometimes the deepest betrayal is built entirely out of words. In this episode, you're going to learn the real definition of an emotional affair and where the line actually is, what a micro-cheating definition is and how an innocent friendship can slide past it, the story of a good man who never touched anyone and broke his wife's trust anyway, why emotional betrayal can hurt as much or more than physical, and why nothing physical happened doesn't restore trust the way people think that it will. The question everyone asks is it even cheating? And the first thing people want to know is whether it counts. And I understand why, because without a physical act, there's no obvious line in the sand. So let me give you the line I use. It's not about bodies. It's about 3 things: secrecy, emotional intimacy, and where your energy goes. If you're sharing the most alive parts of yourself with someone outside your relationship, you'd feel exposed having your partner read the messages. And if that person has quietly become the one you turn to first, you're in affair territory, whether or not anyone has ever touched. So let's talk about what an emotional affair actually is. An emotional affair is the redirection of emotional intimacy, your vulnerability, your excitement, your comfort, away from your partner and towards someone else, usually wrapped in secrecy. It's not the friendship itself that's the problem. We all need friends, and it's even okay to have friends of the opposite sex. It's when the friendship becomes a hiding place. And when it starts feeding something the marriage is starving for, and when you begin protecting it from your partner. That's the shift from connection to betrayal. So let's talk a little bit about micro-cheating, or kind of the slow erosion. Almost no one decides to have an emotional affair. It happens by degrees, what people now call micro-cheating. A text that didn't need to be sent, an inside joke, sharing a hard day with them before you share it with your spouse, deleting a message just so it's not misunderstood. Each step is a small enough way to explain away, and that's exactly what makes it dangerous. It's a slow erosion, and by the time you look up, the center of your emotional life has quietly moved out of your home and into the home of someone else. So let me talk about a client. We'll just call him Ryan. Ryan doesn't go looking for anything. By every outside measure, his life is full. He's got a marriage and 2 kids, a demanding job, but somewhere in the years of logistics and exhaustion, he and his wife quietly become roommates, running an operation. They talked about the calendar, the kids, the bills. They almost never talked about him. And Ryan, without ever once saying it out loud, felt profoundly lonely, disconnected, and unseen in his own life. Then he met a woman named Jess at the gym. It was genuinely innocent at first. Easy conversation, between sets, a few laughs, the kind of light connection that feels like a breath of fresh air when you've been quietly suffocating. Nothing about it sets off alarms. They were just 2 people who clicked. Then the texting starts, small at first, a funny meme, a good luck on your presentation, but over time, it became the place Ryan brought his life. The win at work he was proud of, the frustration with his boss, the random thought he wanted to share with someone. He started bringing all of that to Jess instead of to his wife. She always wrote back. She was curious about him. She made him feel interesting and capable and seen and important, the exact things he'd stopped feeling at home from his wife. And then came the innocent coffees, just 2 friends catching up, he told himself. They never held hands. Nothing romantic was ever said out loud. And every time a flicker of doubt rose up, Ryan had his answer ready. We're just friends. Nothing's happened. But notice, he never told his wife about the coffees. He started being a little vague about where he'd been, and the secrecy had arrived long before he was willing to admit what it meant. And then his wife found a message, not anything explicit. And that was almost the hardest part. It was the tone, the warmth, the inside jokes she wasn't part of. A line that read, "I can talk to you in a way I can't talk to anyone else." She sat there holding the phone and realized that the closeness, the curiosity, the emotional aliveness she'd been missing for years, he'd had it the whole time. He'd just been giving it to someone else. Ryan swore that nothing physical had ever happened, and the truth is nothing had, but his wife couldn't make herself believe it. And in a moment, you'll see she had every reason not to. So let's talk about why it hurt as much as a physical affair. People assume the absence of sex should make this easier to forgive. Often it's the opposite, because what was given away wasn't a body, it was intimacy. The laughing, the confiding, the being known. The betrayed partner doesn't just think you were attracted to someone, they think you chose to be close to someone else while I sat across from you getting your leftovers. That's a wound that is the very center of the marriage. I am still the person you turn to. It's not. But nothing happened. Why can't she just trust that? And here's the part the unfaithful partner usually doesn't understand. When Ryan said nothing physical happened, he meant it as reassurance. But to his wife, that sentence simply couldn't land. And not because she was irrational. Once secrecy enters a marriage, the betrayed partner loses the one thing trust is built on, the belief that what they're being told is the whole truth. She had already been told we're just friends, while an entire emotional world was hidden from her. So why would nothing physical happen be the place the honesty suddenly begins? Her nervous system had learned that the story she was given and the reality underneath it were two different things. That's not paranoia. That's a brain that's been betrayed, trying to protect her. And we'll go into that a lot more deeply in our next episode to talk about betrayal and the kind of trauma that is. So now we're going to talk about the path back. The way back isn't to argue about whether it counted. It's for the unfaithful partner to do three things. End the outside intimacy completely and transparently. Get honest about the unmet need that made it feel so good. And turn that redirected energy back toward the marriage. And then together, the couple has to face the real question underneath all of it. How did Ryan get so lonely inside his own marriage that near stranger at the gym became home? It's not an excuse. It's the doorway to actually fixing it. Because an emotional affair is almost always a sign pointing straight at a need that went unspoken for just far too long. So if you take anything from today, let it be these things. If you have a friendship you're hiding, even a little, that secrecy is the signal. Get honest about what need is quietly being unmet by this other person. If you're the betrayed partner, your pain is valid even if nothing happened physical. You're not overreacting, you're grieving a real loss. And if you're the one who's strayed emotionally, we're just friends, is the story we tell ourselves right before we lose the plot. Honesty is the only road back. So if this episode resonated with you, please subscribe to our show so you don't miss the rest of this After the Affair series. Share it with someone who needs permission to take their gut feeling seriously. And if you're navigating this, emotional betrayal is healable. And EMDR and couples work with an EFT skilled therapist can help rebuild trust at the root. And everything's linked below in our description. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I wish you healing. And until next time, don't forget to lead with love. It'll never steer you wrong.